Hello and welcome to our lesson on mixed numbers and improper fractions. This lesson is called Fraction This. This lesson covers mixed numbers and improper fractions in a third grade level in math. The lesson goals are that I can convert improper fractions to mixed numbers and mixed numbers to improper fractions. I can identify improper fractions and mixed numbers based on visuals. The lesson objectives are that students will be able to produce improper fractions and mixed numbers from fraction models. Students will be able to recognize parts and wholes both visually and numerically. The standards used in this lesson are that students will understand a fraction 1 over b as a quantity formed by one part. When a whole is partitioned into b equal parts, understand a fraction a over b as a quantity formed by a parts of size 1 over b. Explain equivalence of fractions in special cases and compare fractions by reasoning about their size. Now let's get started. I'm going to show a quick little video initiating some prior knowledge on improper fractions and mixed numbers.
Mathematicians, in this lesson, you will learn how to look at a picture of an improper fraction or mixed number and write it in standard form by determining the number of pieces in one whole and the number of pieces being described.
So just based on that little opening, it's going to ask a question, what do you already know about fractions? And students should raise their hand answering the question about what they already know about fractions. And on the board, I am going to be writing a KWL chart out, which students will fill out the no part.
There are some important things that you already know that will help you so much with today's lesson. You already know, for example, that a mixed number and improper fraction are just fractions that represent values between two whole numbers other than 0 and 1. In other words, they have value greater than 1. You also know that writing a fraction from a picture requires you to identify the denominator, the number of pieces in one whole, and the numerator, the number of pieces being described. Writing an improper fraction and a mixed number is exactly the same, except here you will have to be extra careful with your denominator and remember that the denominator is the number of pieces it takes to make just one whole.
So based on what she just talked about through the numeric visual of the improper fraction and mixed numbers, they equal the same thing, but the numbers are different, and students should know this based on what they know about improper fractions and mixed numbers. So then it asks, what is the denominator? And students will raise their hands and hopefully will answer the correct response.
There are many ways that I can represent a fraction with a value greater than 1. A mixed number and improper fraction represent two ways to express the standard or number form. They're just written in a different way.
So based on this visual, it shows a mixed number and an improper fraction as the same thing using this equal sign based on this. And this is a visual. So this is going to set up our worksheet, which we will be doing right now. This worksheet uses the fraction models on the left side, which you will be using for this and this. So you will be using the fraction model to convert into an improper fraction and then a mixed number. So first, looking at this fraction model, you have to see what the improper fraction is. Then, using that improper fraction, convert into a mixed number. I will give you about 5 to 10 minutes depending on how far you are getting and if there are any questions. Once this worksheet is completed, we will be doing an activity called a forced debate. This is an activity on improper fractions and mixed numbers, as you can guess. So the directions: I will split up the class into pairs and assign each pair a set of fractions and mixed numbers. You will work together to come up with one answer as to what the fractions and mixed numbers mean or equal. It is your job to defend your reasoning, what you think they mean or what they equal. Force a debate between your partner to hear both sides of the reasoning. This activity is more of a discussion for learning, but if you have a question, please discuss and debate. When you are done debating and discussing, type your answers where your name appears on the slide. Be prepared to have a class discussion regarding your debate. So I've split you guys all up onto the slides in these Google Slides, and I've given you all a couple pairs of improper fractions and mixed numbers, which it is your job to simplify, equal, talk about what they mean. So after the colon, you have to say what they equal if they're an improper fraction, mixed number, so on and so forth. But if you disagree with your partner, you need to explain why on this slide. So it is your job to back up your reasoning and tell your partner why, what you think. And so when it is time for a class discussion, you need to explain what you came to, what your thought was, what your reasoning was. And this is called a forced debate because there are two sides to a debate. And even though you may only have one answer, you both came to it somehow. So keep in mind what mixed numbers and improper fractions are, because you have to come to them somehow. You have to convert. You have to use visuals, numbers. So once this is over, we're going to play a Kahoot. And let's see. So 225,587. Fraction this. Which of the following is an example of an improper fraction? Choose your best guess. So there were two answers here, and they both numerators are bigger than the denominator, so this is the best answer. What is the first step in changing a mixed number to an improper fraction? Add the numerator to the whole number, or multiply the denominator and the whole number. Convert these pizzas into a mixed number, so we're working with the visual here. Which of the following is not an improper fraction? Remember, improper fraction has a bigger numerator. Good job. Convert this improper fraction to a mixed number. Remember, you have to divide. Yep, 3 1/4. What is the first step in changing an improper fraction to a mixed number? Yep, you always have to divide. Convert this mixed number to an improper fraction. Remember to multiply and then add, or you can use this visual to help. Good job. Convert these apples into an improper fraction. So again, we're using a visual for help. Which of the following is an example of a mixed number? Nice. And last question, select the correct expressions. So using the model. So there can be multiple, or there can be one. So green was also right, because if you counted up all of the shaded in areas, there was 14 with one left over. So good job, boys and girls.